she was talking about her spirit guides, that she could start seeing them when she laid in bed. And we both knew that that there was more to that, but we didn't really say anything. A week later, she found out that the cancer had gone back aggressively, tenfold. She found out on a Wednesday, and she started becoming really sick, and they put her in the ICU the following 2 days. So I went down to Florida a few days later because she stayed in ICU and she was progressively getting worse. So I flew down to Florida and was with her. And my mom had not shared with me what kind of state she was in, just that things were progressively getting worse. And as soon as I walked in, I was like, really, Mom, you should have told me. Like, I knew right away she was dying. So I had a few hours before they put her on the ventilator to talk to her and just be with her in her presence. So then the next day, the family chose to take her off the ventilator and let her pass in peace. And my grandma has a very open mind point of view when it comes to death. And she always said, this is a shell, and our soul our soul goes on, and our body is just a shell. So after she had passed, I kissed my grandma, and I didn't cry because I knew that she was at peace, and I knew that she was on her next state and her next journey. And I could hear her as if I was talking on the phone. She said, stop kissing that dead body. And she's like, I'm not in there. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I can hear Grandma. And I turned to my aunt and I was like, I can hear Grandma in my head. She's just still kind of upset. And I just could hear her talking to me. And I was like, this is so weird. I didn't think anything of it. And I thought it was just me remembering what Grandma had said. But she was telling me stuff that it was just weird. So I was like, okay. So later on, I would meditate, and she'd come to me in my meditation and visit with me, and we'd talk, and I didn't think anything of it. And then 9 months later, I went back down to Florida to visit my mom and my aunts, and we all sat together and meditated, and my grandma said to me that a woman in a red dress will help you answer your questions. And there's a town full of psychics. It's called something, I don't remember, in Florida, that we were going to the next day. And I said, what if they don't believe me? And she said, who cares if they don't believe you? I was like, all right, Grandma, that's great. So she, we kind of chatted, and I asked her what she'd been up to, and then she said she had to go. So I told my aunt and my mom the next day that I had to talk to a lady in a red dress. And they kind of, I think, pacified me and was like, okay, whatever. So then the next day when we go to this town, my mom goes and, gets her reading and does her thing, and we're in this bookstore, crystal store, and we'd been there for a couple hours, and my aunt's like, well, we gotta find the lady. And I said, well, she'll come. If it's meant to be, it'll come. I just kind of brushed it off because I didn't really think anything. And then we walked outside, and a lady in the red dress was across the street. And my aunt's like, the lady in the red dress. And I walked up to her, and I said, are you a medium? And she goes, yeah. I said, I have to talk to you. She goes, did my boyfriend send you? And I said, no, I meditated last night, and my grandma told me I had to talk to a lady in a red dress, and your dress is the same image I saw. And she goes, I guess we have to talk. Let me remind you, she had no appointments that day. She doesn't know why she came in, and she left right after our reading. And she picked up on a few things that only my grandma and I had known. And she picked up on the donor, who was the valve that I have, a donor's valve. She picked up on his energy, knew that I had a donor's valve. And then she said that I was supposed to be doing this work in a different way, kind of connecting with angels, and that I was different. And she said, I'm a medium, and I don't even dream about my past loved ones or something. She goes, you're completely unique and you're different. I didn't know what any of that really meant. And then, so we kind of go on deeper about this. And then the next few days, I just kind of found a course to kind of connect deeper kind of with your spirituality or with this. It was a Charles Virtue course, and I started meditating, and then the door swung open, and as soon it was already open, and then when I swung it open, it just flooded in, and I was like, holy cow. Talking to my spirit guide, then talking to Jesus, talking to angels, and hearing this, and I was like, wow, I didn't really even know that this was a thing. I just kind of assumed. So really being told that I was different, I think made a huge impact, because I just didn't know. I just kind of assumed everybody did this when they meditated. So when I saw like yogis and they did yoga and meditate, I just assumed everybody did this. So that's kind of how my story came into kind of a little bit of a roller coaster, and it continues to grow every single day. I learn something new. I do not know everything and am told everything. I truly believe that God gives you everything you know when you need to know it. The things I know now that I didn't know a year ago. And I continually grow with my practice and teach. It's like a muscle. I tell everybody has this gift. You just kind of have to trust. Trust like kind of what you're giving, trust within, trust your soul. And I think really connecting deeper, and that's where I really want to teach, is really listening to yourself. Because when you listen to yourself, you really never go wrong. It's really activating that gut instinct, the tool that our soul is, the tool that God gave us. And the more we listen to it, the more it guides us on our right path. So I try not to, yes, I have the gift, but it's not all unicorns and rainbows, and my life is perfectly. It doesn't work like that. We are humans. We are having life experiences. And if I can guide people and deliver messages that help them put their heart and their mind at ease and connect deeper with their soul, then that's all. Then that's the greatest gift I can give somebody else. And that's what my life purpose is just helping individuals or humanity, however, get more in touch with their soul so they can listen to their own intuition and follow their guidance. I don't believe we're supposed to have all the answers. Because if we did, we weren't supposed to. I don't believe we're supposed to be here then, if we have all the answers. I believe life is a lesson and kind of a lesson, and also kind of co-creating your life and the experiences you want to experience, the people you want to meet, the emotions you want to feel. So I just kind of write it out, kind of let the reins of control, I've kind of let those go and just kind of see what puts in my place and who comes in my place and who do I meet and who do I give messages to and who I come in contact with. I think it's easier to live that way instead of overthinking everything. I had that a long time ago in my early 20s. I had a plan for a plan for a plan. And I realized that really didn't work out very well for me, because every time I had a plan, something else would change. So I think moving and being in a state of ease and just allowing what comes your way and knowing that God doesn't put anything in your path that you can't overcome, that you can't face, and knowing you have the strength within to create, conquer, imagine, anything is within you. And I just think we've lost that. And the more we tap into who we are and what we know, I think the better our life will be. So I hope my story on, yes, it was more medical and kind of, there's a lot of stuff that I left out that will be in the book, and I know some of you are asking when the book will be. I don't know. It's very challenging for me to sit and write. I talk better than I type. So if there's one of those people who want me to talk and they can type for me, message me. I would love for that to happen. I don't know, are they called ghostwriters or something? I don't know. I would love one of those. That would move me along my life path. I know it'll be presented in divine timing. So I hope my story inspired you to look at your life and the challenges that you may have overcome or you faced as childhood or adolescence, even your 20s, later years. It doesn't define you, but it sure does make up a really good part of you. And acknowledge that that's may look or perceive to be a negative thing. It may be something positive, magical. Look at it from a different point of view. I always thought that it was people saw me in a different way, or like I was, I don't know, a sick patient because I was in the hospital and all this, but it's made up who I am. And, through hell or high water, I've conquered and outcome and still outliving the doctors, knock on wood. And sometimes when we face things in our life, we have to realize that they're put there for a reason and face them head on and know that you can overcome them, any obstacle in your path. So that's a lot more about me and who I am. And we'll talk more about I don't know what next week. So every Tuesday I do this, and I just wanted you guys to know kind of who I am and my story. So that's the raw truth of me. And we'll move forward with more interesting topics. So thank you guys for joining me and listening to my story. I love you guys, and pass the word around and my information. If you guys want to schedule an appointment with me, it's talkingwiththeangels.com, and my Facebook page, I do Monday morning messages there, is Talking with the Angels on Facebook. So changing the world one listener at a time. Thanks you guys for joining. Until next time.